Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtotara Shata Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Samstapakacharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So this morning we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 13, in the matter of the appearance of Lord Varaha, text 11. Sa tvam asyām apatyāni sadṛśāni ātmano guṇaiḥ utpādya śāsa dharmeṇa gam yajñaiḥ puruṣaṁ yaja satvam asyām apatyāni sadṛśāni ātmano guṇaiḥ utpādya śāsa dharmeṇa gam yajñaiḥ puruṣaṁ yaja satvam asyām apatyāni sadṛśāni ātmano guṇaiḥ utpādya śāsa dharmeṇa gam yajñaiḥ puruṣaṁ yaja satvam asyām apatyāni sadṛśāni ātmano guṇaiḥ utpādya śāsa dharmeṇa gam yajñaiḥ puruṣaṁ yaja. Utpādya śāsa dharmeṇa gam yajñaiḥ puruṣaṁ yaja dharmeṇa puruṣaṁ yaja. Ladies, satvam asyām apatyāni sadṛśāni ātmano guṇaiḥ utpādya śāsa dharmeṇa satvam asyām apatyāni sadṛśāni ātmano guṇaiḥ utpādya śāsa dharmeṇa gam yajñaiḥ puruṣaṁ yaja satvam asyām apatyāni sadṛśāni ātmano guṇaiḥ utpādya śāsa dharmeṇa gam yajñaiḥ puruṣaṁ yaja. Saha, therefore, that obedient son, tvam, as you are, asyām, in her, apatyāni, children, sadṛśāni, equally qualified, ātmanaḥ, of yourself, guṇaiḥ, with the characteristics, utpādya, having begotten, śāsa, rule, dharmeṇa, on the principles of devotional service, gam, the world, yajñaiḥ, by sacrifices, puruṣaṁ, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yaja, worship. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Since you are my very obedient son, I ask you to beget children qualified like yourself in the womb of your wife. Rule the world in pursuance of the principles of devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus worship the Lord by the performances of yajña. Purport. The purpose of the material creation by Brahmā is clearly described herein. Every human being should beget nice children in the womb of his wife as a sacrifice for the purpose of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotional service. In the Viṣṇu Purāṇa 3.8.9 it is stated, Varnashramācharavata puruṣena parappuman Viṣṇu āradyate panta nanyat tattosha. One can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Viṣṇu, by proper discharge of the principles of Varna and Ashrama. There is no alternative to pacifying the Lord by execution of the principles of the Varnashrama system. Viṣṇu worship is the ultimate aim of life. Those who take the license of married life for sense enjoyment must also take the responsibility to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Viṣṇu, and the first stepping stone is the Varnashrama Dharma system. Varnashrama Dharma is the systematic institution for advancing in worship of Viṣṇu. However, if one directly engages in the process of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it may not be necessary to undergo the disciplinary system of Varnashrama Dharma. The other sons of Brahmā, the Kumaras, directly engaged in devotional service, and thus they had no need to execute the principles of Varnashrama Dharma. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to Canto 3, Chapter 13, in the matter of the appearance of Lord Varaha, text 11. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpādya Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasaitam Krishna Caitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Viṣṇu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaurakata Damudaya Nagra Gramatarine Nama Om Viṣṇu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Gopi Paranadana Dase Iti Namine Nama Om Viṣṇu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patidanam bhavanebhyo vaishnebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate giram yatkripatamaham bande Shri Guruntarinam yatkripatamaham bande Paramananda Madhavam Shri Caitanya Ishwaram Katanshana Smriti Yasmin Dushkaram Sukaram Bhavet Vismrite Vipritam Syat Shri Caitanyam Namamitam. So this is a very interesting purport where Srila Prabhupada concludes the purport by saying that Varnashrama Dharma is a systematic institution for advancing in worship of Viṣṇu. However, if one directly engages in the process of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it may not be necessary to undergo the disciplinary system of Varnashrama Dharma. The other sons of Brahmā, the Kumaras, directly engaged in devotional service, and thus they had no need to execute the principles of Varnashrama Dharma. So, here Srila Prabhupada brings out this essential point that bhakti is not dependent on anything else. If one directly engages in the practice, in the process of devotional service, then nothing else is necessary. And this is how Srila Prabhupada established the Krishna consciousness movement in the beginning stages, but towards the later stages of his physical presence on the planet, he began to speak about Varnashrama. I won't go into the details of that, but if you look at Srila Prabhupada's own reasoning, why he is doing that, then you will find unambiguously, it's very clear why he is doing that. Because he says that so many of our men are falling down. He says that. In fact, here it speaks about the Kumaras. They did not take up Grihastha life. They remained brahmacharis. So Srila Prabhupada gave sannyas to several of his disciples, and many of them fell down. So when Prabhupada brings up this context of Varnashrama, Prabhupada says Vaishnava means one who does not fall down. So then he speaks of, therefore Varnashrama is necessary. And the famous purports to the Grajendra and the crocodile incident happened during the fall down of one of his sannyasi disciples. And if we examine those purports carefully, you'll find a very strong a strong emphasis on what we are meant to do in Krishna consciousness. So, in those purports, Prabhupada emphasizes that one should be situated in that, or one should find oneself situated in that place or situation where one is enthusiastic and strong to fight Maya. So that is the principle, that ultimately that is what we are trying to do. As Prabhupada would say often, that Krishna consciousness is a declaration of war on Maya. Everyone has to fight this war, and there is no break to this fight actually, because that's why Prabhupada says you have to be Krishna conscious 24 hours. Apart from the fact that Maya is going to attack, of course the very nature of the soul is to be engaged 24 hours in Krishna consciousness. That's our constitutional nature. Apart from that, there is also this fact that Maya is active 24 hours. So Prabhupada said the Krishna consciousness movement is a declaration of war on Maya. So one should always find oneself enthusiastic and strong to fight Maya. So for everyone, it may not be possible to not take assistance of something other than bhakti. For example, here it is said that for example, not here, in general, it is said that for example, marriage is not spiritual by definition. It's not spiritual by definition, it's material. So, but it can be engaged in the service of the Lord. So for those who are not able to practice a life of being a brahmachari and a sannyasi, grihastha life is recommended. Because the principle is that one has to remain enthusiastic and strong to fight Maya. And in general, if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, we have Karma Yoga, we also have Bhakti Yoga. The interesting thing is, Prabhupada refers to Karma Yoga as action in Krishna consciousness. Action in Krishna consciousness. And sometimes people criticize Prabhupada's purports, not the devotees, but what is this? Your founder Acharya, everywhere is just speaking about bhakti and Krishna consciousness, and you call it as it is, but this is really as it is. It is really as it is, because there is technically a difference between Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. And Prabhupada brings out that difference. The difference is not there are two different kinds, but rather it is just the levels of Krishna consciousness. It's just a question of levels of Krishna consciousness. So in Karma Yoga, one is generally situated in one's psychophysical nature, while at the same time practicing bhakti. In the sense that we're practicing chanting and all that, but one is doing it from the platform of one's psychophysical nature. Technically, Bhakti Yoga means independent of what one's nature is, whatever be one's psychophysical nature, one does whatever is needed for the service of the Lord. Just like when Prabhupada established the Krishna consciousness movement, he himself exemplified that. He did everything from organizing to cooking to cleaning, every single activity. So Prabhupada sometimes gives the example, just because I am sweeping the floor or anybody else is doing, doesn't mean they are sweepers. But they do whatever is needed for the service of the Lord. So that is the highest level of Krishna consciousness, where one does whatever is needed for the service of the Lord. So in the initial stages of the Krishna consciousness movement, he also saw that because Prabhupada, by his example, by his empowerment, his disciples also were able to do similar things. They would go to some country without any money, establish the Krishna consciousness movement without living in some very frugal conditions. They did all kinds of things which are hard to imagine. The whole of the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita is an example of the kinds of things that they did. And Prabhupada would fondly refer to that as the great transcendental adventure. I mean, there's a whole book Kurma Prabhu writes. It's called The Great Transcendental Adventure. So, yes, if one can live on that platform, and one at least try to, that is what Krishna consciousness is, the great transcendental adventure. So, the essential principle there was that you saw that devotees, followers of Prabhupada, they just did whatever it took to establish the Krishna consciousness movement. That is by the inspiration of Srila Prabhupada. But at the same time, when there were difficulties, so Prabhupada began to be considerate of those situations, and in fact, he allowed his sannyasis who fell down to get married. In some other schools or mutts, sannyasi falling down is ostracized completely. But Prabhupada didn't do that. Prabhupada encouraged them to still be Krishna conscious. He said, okay, don't give up the fight on Maya. So, we have to first of all understand what our goal in life is, which is to attain love of Godhead. And love of Godhead cannot be attained just by some casual approach, or it's going to happen anyway. Just chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 praglative principles, it's just going to happen automatically. It's not like that. In fact, Prabhupada said, chant 16 rounds offenselessly and follow the 4 regulative principles. Now, to chant 16 rounds offenselessly, that is not a joke. And what does offenselessly means? We have the 10 offenses, right? And even to follow any of those offenses, to avoid any of those offenses, then we have to, for example, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives to propagate the glories of the holy name. That's the first offense. So, unless one understands what is the glory of someone propagating the holy name, then one will not understand why it is so, why it is not so, why it is important to avoid that offense. So, where do we get that information from? That information comes from the body of Srila Prabhupada's writings. So, from reading his books, one comes to the understanding of what is the actual position of a devotee. And then one begins to become careful. Oh, I should not offend someone as glorious as a devotee, especially someone who is trying to propagate the holy name. Similarly, if you take any of the offenses, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Brahmā or Lord Shiva to be equal to or independent of the names of the Lord. So what does it mean? Again, if we study the Bhaktivedanta purports, then we understand that there is one Supreme Lord and how everyone are as parts and parcels. So, which essentially means that if you need to chant offenselessly, we cannot do that if we don't attend Bhagavatam classes regularly and read Srila Prabhupada's books regularly. Because without that, we won't have an idea what the offenses clearly are and how to avoid them. And apart from the information aspect of it itself, the very act of reading is an act of purification. The very act of reading Srila Prabhupada's books, the very act of hearing Bhagavatam is itself an act of purification. Like we are situated in different places in the world. Srila Prabhupada said, generally the villages are in the mode of goodness, cities are in the mode of passion, and within the cities there are different places like brothels and liquor houses, they are in the mode of ignorance. So externally the whole environment is a combination of different modes. Wherever we are, we cannot be free from those modes. We cannot be free means this is the material nature. So wherever you go, it is always a combination of the modes. That's one thing, that's external. Internally, our body, minds, this is also a combination of different modes. Then we interact with people. Again, different people are in the combination of different modes. So we are constantly being swayed in these conditions of our own, swayed by our own mind and body, swayed by other people's minds, swayed by the environment in which we are. So we are constantly in that state of being swayed. That's the nature of material nature. This is called the war, that Maya is propagating against us, or the waging against us. So how do we push back that thing? So we push back by the use of our consciousness. Because consciousness is explained in scripture. Consciousness is by definition pure. By its very nature it's pure. So consciousness is compared to like a crystal. A crystal, let's say a clear white crystal or transparent crystal. It has no color actually. But when you place it near a red rose, it takes on the color of the rose. By itself it is pure. So is the red color an inherent characteristic of the crystal? No. It is an acquired or you could say it is not real. It is in the appearance of the, it's not real. It is real in the sense that it's acquired, but it's not its nature. So we speak about consciousness in the different modes. It doesn't mean the consciousness is actually affected. It is just the question of what the consciousness is identifying with. So by hearing from the pure devotee, for us members of International Society of Krishna Consciousness, which means that to hear from Prabhupada and to read his books and to hear from his followers who are following the teachings. So by that process, that very process of hearing clarifies the consciousness. And apart from our chanting and a performance of bhakti, so we need, hearing itself is a process of bhakti. It's among the two most important processes. So when that happens, this is exactly what happens, that when we do that, our consciousness becomes purified. And among all the levels of existence, you have the sensual plane of existence, then you have the mental plane of existence, then you have the intellectual plane of existence, then you have the spiritual plane of existence. The strongest among all the planes of existence is the spiritual. So if the consciousness is held, is purified and constantly in alignment with what Srila Prabhupada has taught us, then that is very strong. Then no matter how the external circumstances may be, no matter what our minds may be telling us, no matter what, so we'll always remain situated on the platform of Krishna consciousness. And this is the program that Prabhupada has given us, that we rise in the morning for Mangalarati. In the assembly of devotees, we hear the samsara prayers, the essence of which is that I need to follow, I need to please. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado, yasya prasadat nagutitopi, dhyayanstvam tasya shastri sandhyam vande guroshri charana. Which means that I am doing all these activities just to please my spiritual master, please Srila Prabhupada, please the Vaishnavas. So this is how our day begins. That the purpose of all the activities is to please them. So Prabhupada has given us a very clearly defined program. It is a program which provides a program of sufficient intensity by which consciousness can be situated very strongly to fight against Maya. So, so it's important that when we think of Krishna consciousness, yes, Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness is easy, just chant 16 rounds, follow the great principle. At the same time, we shouldn't forget that the prescription of the Bhagavatam is akama, sarvakama, mokshakama. Whether you're akama, free from all desires, akama, sarvakama, whether you're full of all desires, mokshakama, whether you desire liberation, tivrena bhakti yogena, that whichever category you are, you're supposed to follow tivrena bhakti yogena. There is no exception to that. No matter what, we all have to follow the process of tivrena bhakti yogena. If we don't follow the process of tivrena bhakti yogena, then we'll be floating in the currents of this material world. And we'll just get swayed by different, sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are miserable, sometimes we think that we are products of this material world, sometimes we identify with characters of this material world, we think we are this, Indian, American, black, white, whatever. So it's a whole whirlpool of identification and actions. So to remain fixed in the process of Krishna consciousness, one has to every day take shelter of the words of the pure devotee. So that, and apart from our chanting 16 rounds, apart from following other services, apart from doing other services that we do, the process of Shravanam should not be underestimated. And it is just by the very process of picking up the book and reading, we remain fixed in Krishna consciousness. There is a place where I was trying to look for it today, but I couldn't find it. There is a place where Prabhupada says that if you read my books daily, you'll never fall down. I mean, I've read that. I couldn't locate it today, but he says something like that, that if you take shelter of my books every day, if you read every day, then you'll never fall down, because these are his personal ecstasies. These are his personal ecstasies. So you're directly associating with his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, by hearing the Bhagavatam and by just picking up the book and reading it. So this is a very powerful panacea for all the difficulties that we have. It's often underestimated, the power of the books. In fact, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say that even if, instead of having this temple where devotees are just fighting, let me just sell the marble and with the money print books and distribute them. Because this Bhagavatam is a manifestation of Krishna. This is not just some words written in some paper. This is Krishna himself. So in scripture, Krishna appears as Bhagavatam. In the holy name, Krishna appears. Then as he appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there are many ways in Kali Yuga in which Krishna is directly giving us shelter. Through the Bhagavatam, he appears as the Bhagavatam. Then he appears as the holy name. He appears as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this whole Krishna consciousness movement is not just some random event occurring in history. Rather, it is an extension of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes on earth. So we need to understand the perspective of the Krishna consciousness movement and feel fortunate that despite whatever be our disqualifications, we have been given an opportunity to be a part of the extended pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have the Mahakumbha going on now. So Japatak Maharaj recollects that when Prabhupada was attending the Kumbh Mela personally, and Prabhupada is explaining about how these different yogis and all of them, they have performed so many austerities and so many different things they've done. They're here. So at that time, one of Prabhupada's disciples asked Prabhupada, we haven't done any of these things. So how is it that we are here? And Srila Prabhupada said, I have created that good fortune. So somehow, by Prabhupada's good fortune, we are here sitting in Mayapur Dham, soaking in the Bhagavatam, the association of the devotees. We are not thinking of running to Kumbh and taking a dip there and somehow attaining liberation. We've got a far more higher purpose in life than to just get some liberation. Okay, coming back to this point of Varnashrama Dharma. So, what is its relevance to bhakti? You know, that we need to understand that the final instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, which is often repeated within the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, is Sarva Dharman Paritejya Mamekam Sharanam Praja. Okay, Sarva Dharman Paritejya. So there it speaks about giving up all forms of dharma, which is exactly what Prabhupada also speaks about here. That however, if one directly engages in the process of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it may not be necessary to undergo the disciplinary system of Varnashrama Dharma. But however, one should be careful that if one wants to act on that platform of giving up all kinds of dharma, then there is a preliminary qualification there. If we examine all the scriptures of the world and the Vedic literatures in general, everything speaks about giving up adharma. Adharma is sinful activity. All scriptures of the world speak about giving up adharma. Vedic literatures also speak about giving up adharma. But there is one scripture called the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, let's say, and then Bhagavatam, which speaks about giving up dharma. That's something extraordinary. Not giving up adharma, it's speaking about giving up dharma. So, that's very exalted stage. That's why Prabhupada explains that when Krishna explains to Arjuna, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam, I'm giving you the king of knowledge, the king of all education, the most confidential knowledge. So there's nothing higher than this. And Prabhupada explains that Arjuna was a member of a very civilized society. So this instruction is being given to someone who's very well situated in dharma. He's very, very well situated in dharma. You don't have to find instructions like here in the Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. Do not steal. All these things are just not given there, because they're already very well situated on the platform of dharma. Only someone who is very well situated on the platform of dharma is qualified to give up dharma. But because the very connotation of giving up dharma may bring the idea that, okay, give up dharma, what is the use of dharma? Dharma, it's all the same. No, dharma is above adharma. There's no question, they're not equal. There is a gradation in Vedic literature. And if we equate adharma with dharma, then we are finished. Then our practice of bhakti just simply becomes a disturbance, as Rupa Goswami explains. So, practitioners of the Krishna conscious movement should be conscious of this fact, that sarva dharman paritejya does not give us the license to commit sinful activities. There's no question of sinful activities. Devotee means no sinful activities. So when it speaks about giving up dharma, it means first of all you have to be situated on the platform of dharma. Then you are eligible to give up dharma. Otherwise it's very dangerous. Simply creates a disturbance. So to prevent devotees from falling down means what? It's not falling down to dharma. Falling down refers to doing something adharmic. So to prevent that, Prabhupada began to speak about varnashrama. Let me try to give you an analogy to just clarify what exactly is this role of varnashrama dharma. Let's take, for example, I don't know how many of you have gone to Ekachakra some 10 years ago. The roads used to be very bad. It will take about 6 hours. It takes only 3 hours these days. But the roads used to be terrible. Sometimes you wonder, where is the road? It's just like, it's just potholes and deep potholes, and it's like quite a very bumpy ride. And imagine that you had such a ride, not for 150 kilometers, maybe thousands of kilometers, and then assume that it is summer, quite hot, and material, why I'm giving the example of a bad road is because material life is rough. There's nothing called a smooth material life. Material life is by definition rough. And then, okay, I'm going to give you the example of summer. It's not a very pleasant ride. It's always, so you have a car which does not have an air conditioner and it's riding on a rough road, So, that's not very easy if you want to go to a very far off destination. Okay, the only hope in that circumstance generally is you have at least a proper map, a good connectivity. Rather, let me put it as, these days we call it as a good internet connectivity. At least you have the Google map, and you can, even though it is difficult, somehow you can get there. But assume that you don't have a good connectivity. What are your chances that you will pursue your journey to the destination? Very slim, because connectivity is very poor. If the connectivity is very strong, then at least there is a chance. Okay, look, I will somehow or the other get there. So now let me give the analogy. Okay, let's say rough road. You have a fantastic car, fantastic suspensions. Of course, you will still find you'll feel some jerks on the road, but fantastic suspension, fantastic car, and in AC also, So then what are your chances of going to the destination? Increases simply because the ride is more convenient. Okay, so it all depends on what is the strength of the connectivity. The connectivity is very strong. Even if the roads are bad, the vehicle is bad, you may still somehow or the other reach the destination. It all depends on the strength of the connection. But if the connectivity is bad, then your chances of reaching the destination, your enthusiasm, your determination to reach the destination becomes very slim. So, Prabhupada has given us that opportunity. Okay, it's a rough road. Okay, have this nice car, have an air conditioner, go ahead. So that is the varnashrama system. It is not that it's necessary, but it just makes the journey convenient, so that we don't give up entirely on the journey or commit sinful activities or whatever. So the very idea is not a distraction from bhakti. It is just to make bhakti more convenient. It is not necessary, but it makes the journey more convenient. That's all. So because unless one is really strongly connected, like strongly connected means performing tivrena bhakti yogena. Unless one is really strongly situated in that, the chances that one is not situated in one's natural propensities, then it gets difficult. If we are engaged at least in our natural propensities, then the ride is easier. Ultimately, Krishna consciousness means, highest level means, it doesn't matter with what my nature is. I'll just do whatever is needed for the service of the Lord. For such people, you don't need Varnashrama. For what? They can do anything for the service of the Lord. But several of us may not be on that platform. So therefore, it is better to be situated in a place where we can be strong enough to progress in Krishna consciousness, where we feel enthusiastic enough to progress in Krishna consciousness. So the Prabhupada, that's why Prabhupada called it Daivi Varnashrama. In fact, all the acharyas. The concept of Daivi Varnashrama is a system of which is convenient to attain the goal of life. So that's the very idea of Daivi Varnashrama, where the focus is on how to attain the goal of life, not about the conveniences. Because classically Varnashrama means I want to enjoy this convenience, gradually I will try to reach the goal of life. That's a standard Varnashrama. Let me enjoy all the facilities, it's so nice, mode of goodness or whatever, nice family life, nice this, nice that. Let me enjoy all this. Along the way, I'll just go back to Godhead also. So, but the process of Krishna consciousness is far more nicer than everything else. In the process, okay, whatever I need to make my journey convenient and smooth, I'll take it, because I'm not so strong enough that I can pursue this journey independent of the conditions that I am in. So we have to be honest, we have to be realistic, we have to be honest with ourselves, and not be ashamed of where we are situated, but we should be focused on attaining the goal of life. So I think I'll stop there if there are any comments or questions. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yes, okay, good.
Thank you so much. This enthusiastic class, very inspiring me. Thank you so much. This enthusiastic class, very inspiring me. And my question is Durga Devi controlling the material world, and he also servant of God.
Yes.
Energy of Radharani and Vaishnavi. So Vaishnavi serve other Vaishnavis. So this is the level where we are no need fight with Maya, or have this level when devotee not feel Maya his enemy, because we need use it the material world for serve God.
Yeah. See, material nature by itself is not good or bad. It depends, good or bad depends on how we use it. Prabhupada gives the example of electricity. It can be used for heating or for cooling. So if we, for example, this microphone, if I'm using this to give a Bhagavatam class, then this is a proper use of this microphone. But if I don't do that, then I get entangled. So that is what it is. So it's by nature. That's why a pure devotee of the Lord sees everywhere as Vaikuntha, sees everything as the energy of the Lord. But we are not on that platform. We have the tendency to look at it as an object for our sense gratification. That is where the problem is. So it depends on, that's why we need to change our consciousness. As long as we have that consciousness, Maya will keep us entrapped. Because you're not free. Okay, you have the consciousness, be here. You're not ready to be freed from this place. So that's why with the process of Krishna consciousness, as we progress, so then our consciousness changes, and as our consciousness changes, we'll get more and more free. Like even from the prisoners, they get free. If they behave properly, they're freed from the prison. But it depends on them. So that's why we need to change our consciousness. And Maya can see whether we are changing or not. So if we are not changing, she will give us different things and keep us entangled. Like that.
And so my question, also this, where this level, where the ruchi or other higher level, when we are not contaminated with material consciousness.
Yes, so what about that?
So where this level for devotee, what we need get, where we are not fall down.
Yes. So we need to gradually progress. So it starts with Shraddha, and the progress is led. Once we cross Nishtha, then we can come to the stage of Ruchi. It's not that we have no taste in the beginning. It's not that we also have some Ruchi in the beginning. But it's not of a certain intensified form. After Anartha Nivritti, it is much more stronger. Then you have Asakti, Bhava and Prema. So, yes, we do experience, otherwise we wouldn't be practicing Krishna consciousness if we don't experience some taste. But it's a question of what is the level of that taste. It should be sufficiently strong that material nature does not affect us. Prabhupada gave the example of a communist leader from Russia who underwent a surgery without chloroform. During those days, the anesthesia was chloroform. And he was afraid of chloroform. So he said, perform the operation without anesthesia. And he went through that. And Prabhupada said, look at his cause, look at his dedication to his cause. He was so dedicated that he was able to undergo an operation without anesthesia. So he says that similarly, if we are absorbed in Krishna consciousness, we'll be able to tolerate the miseries of this material. It won't appear very significant. Just like if we are excited and we are rushing to some event, and we may sometimes stub our toe or something may happen while we are rushing to it, but we won't notice it. Once we go sit down in the event and things have settled down, oh, my toe is bleeding or something's happened. Why did we notice it when it happened? Because of the excitement of what we were doing. Similarly, if we are sufficiently absorbed in Krishna consciousness, then the miseries that will come, but we'll be able to, our absorption is higher so that these miseries don't become so significant. Just like if there's a rainy day, whether a devotee goes out or a non-devotee goes out, it's the same rain. But if you have an umbrella, it's different. So devotees also will have to face the rain, just that they have the umbrella of Krishna's mercy. But you're living in a rainy day, but you have the umbrella of Krishna's mercy.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Very nice class and very lucid and clear, coherent class. Really appreciated it. One thing I just thought was a nice point you brought up was that we can't chant offenselessly without proper hearing. It's a very nice point, and I thought of one verse in the Bhagavatam that I'd share is in the second chapter of the first canto. Sutta Goswami explains that sometimes we don't have taste for hearing, and so in that case we can't chant purely. So he says, Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahat Sevaya. So by serving the Vaishnavas, we develop a taste for hearing. So if we can't hear nicely, we can still serve the Vaishnavas in some way, and then by that develop a taste for hearing.
Thank you.
Maybe the last question.
They are the ones who are controlling the class.
So,
literally, they are the ones who schedule classes. Okay.
So, I was telling Prabhuji, you told that Varnashrama and like Brahmacharya, some like Sanat Kumaras, they went for Brahmacharya. So, I understand that they are also like Brahmacharya also in Varnashrama only. Like how we can, like somebody who stays for whole life Brahmacharya.
We see, for example, here, yes, you could say technically brahmachari, but you're not doing those brahmacharis kind of practices they are doing. So technically it is not that kind of brahmacharya. You're following celibacy here, but all the activities that you're doing are all bhakti. So in that sense, it's different. There they had to do so many other things.
So where we are, either we are not above Varnashrama or the below also. Like above Varnashrama is Paramahansa. Below Varnashrama is like Panchamas. So we like Brahmacharya should be either in Varnashrama or somewhere. Like
No.
Where to put that?
No. See, here the context that Prabhupada uses, he's trying to say that there is There is no endeavor by the brahmacharis to maintain their body. That is what it's meaning here. Brahmacharis are being maintained by the institution, at least in ISKCON and things like that. So they are not making an endeavor to maintain themselves. That is the sense that which is saying that they're directly engaged in the service of the Lord. That's it. So you're not performing all. There are so many classical duties of a brahmachari. You're not doing any of that. What are you doing? Doing the whole, just practicing Krishna consciousness. That's it. And whatever service you're given, you're doing. That's all. So just that you're situated in a place where you're practicing celibacy. That's all. Full celibacy. So that's all. So it's not classical. You are situated in pure Krishna consciousness only. We may not be on the highest levels of Krishna consciousness, but you are situated on the path of pure devotional service. Even the grahasthas, anybody who takes to proper teaching is situated on the path of pure devotional service. You will be wearing the dress of a brahmachari, but yeah, you have sannyasis also. Are they technically doing all the sannyas? It's a different kind of sannyas. It's meant for preaching. It's not meant for the classical kshetra sannyas and all that.
Thank you, Purusha.
Rasmai Nityananda Prabhu.
You said, or Prabhupada said, that our goal is to chant offenselessly.
16 rounds.
16 rounds. But this is just taking away the negative. So where's the positive? So if you're chanting without offense, this is namabhas. It's not pure name. It's not Shuddha name.
Yes, if you chant with offenses, it's not Shuddha Nam. He said to without offenses.
No, but then there is no relationship. You take the negative, you don't do any of these 10 offenses, but still this relationship with the Lord is not established.
Oh, okay, I understood your point. So the process of freeing oneself from offenses is to establish one's relationship with the Lord. One cannot just artificially do it. It's not possible. As one increases one's chanting, or one increases the quality of one's chanting, one develops prema. And when one develops prema, one is able to chant Shuddha Nam also.
And this, what you said about Dharma, Savadaman.
Yeah.
I think it means give up the Dharma of the body. Because our Swadharma, our real eternal Dharma, we cannot give up. The Dharma of the soul, we cannot give up.
No, yes, correct.
Yeah. And if you give up the Dharma of the body, you can only do it for Krishna. If you don't do it for Krishna, if you give up the Dharma of the body, not for Krishna, it's very sinful.
Perfect, yeah, perfect. What you said is perfectly right, yes. Okay, so thank you very much. I've got the symbol from Rasamai Nityananda. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Jai.